My name is Nicole and I'm an artist. I have been working for over 20 years now. I work with textiles mainly, but my practice is quite diverse, including live work, performance, installation. I also have worked as an educator in the arts, kind of by default. I didn't study that. I was thrown into teaching when I finished my degree, and I love it. And I love working on learning programs. I've also worked with communities for that whole period as well of my practice. So facilitating community arts projects with different communities here in Sydney, but also regionally in New South Wales as well. And I have been I'm a member of FLENK, and I find that that's a really amazing place for me to put my skills and knowledge and experience.
I'm Laura. I'm also an artist and an educator, and I suppose a cultural worker or practitioner. My practice has always been in printmaking, where I guess like drawing, painting, and I've always sort of alongside that had an education practice or a learning and engagement practice alongside that for basically as long as I can remember. Even when I was in high school, I used to be an assistant at an art school on Saturday morning, so I feel like it's all I've ever done. But that was back in Dublin where I studied, and then since I've come to Sydney, I've done much the same. And I'm also now a member or founding member of the FLENK Collective, which has been a really nice kind of coming together of all of those things after, I suppose, a lot of different stops along the way at different like museum backgrounds or education backgrounds or community work. It's a nice place to where it's all coming together.
We came together as a group of artists, but also arts workers and cultural workers, cultural practitioners who were working in different institutions. And we really wanted to come together with a vision that was about connecting artists and communities, but also about us coming together and sharing our knowledge and our skills and experience with the broader community, and especially in areas where people may not have access to funding or to full-time roles to develop and nurture these projects and experiences. So offering that to organisations, but also initiating things as well ourselves, and to create opportunities for artists to make money, because we started during COVID and we know that was an extremely difficult time for artists. I was really lucky because I was in an institution and I got JobKeeper, which was the most money I ever earned at that time. A weekly wage, unheard of. So yeah, that thing of artists need to have jobs, but also to be able to build that around their art practice, and to also value what artists bring to ways of learning and ways of engaging with not just art, but with the world and with each other. And so I think that was our initial vision, and also to bring together people who have so many different skills, life experience, things that come together to make a really, I guess, solid and rich base to start our work from. And so it has felt really natural.
Yeah.
Like we have grown organically.
Yeah. And we all have different things that we bring, which I think is really nice. Like, I do really believe that we are incredibly functional as a group. And I don't know if any of us, like, it just sort of works, because I think we all bring the little different pieces of the puzzle. So that's been a really nice thing, whether that be from like a different background in the kind of work that we've done, or different particular set of skill sets. And it means that we can also offer something that's just really broad. I think that's probably part of what's been successful, is that we've been able to offer something that covers off a lot of different parts of the puzzle for an institution or for a regional gallery, So whether that be that they don't have a designated education or programming person who can design the program, or somebody who can deliver the program, or somebody who could assist them with, say, some of that digital work that, is a very new skill set, especially since COVID. So I think being able to offer like a very kind of like across or like a holistic offer has been something that's been really helpful. So I think the group brings a lot to the table from everyone differently.
Also, in terms of working together, where we really enjoy working together and we work well together, and there is that collaborative collaborative way of working, which really does bring something different to what we do. So we're not individuals sitting on a laptop on our own room coming up with this on our own, but we're actually having conversations and dialogue. And so I love, that's the thing I love most about working with a collective, is that we are able to expand our ideas and really deepen the engagements and the questions and the ideas. And so I think that brings another level of genuine meaning, like another level of meaning. And
I feel like even just a deeper context, I think, to certain, like, to what we're making, I think. And I think that oftentimes, due to lack of resources or limitations, you know, sometimes it's just one person in a room, and you're going to get a certain amount of perspective or viewpoints or, again, time limits and things like that, that you're maybe just not going to get as much of a, I guess, just as deep a connection to things, or maybe just seeing that there's a different direction to go in, or that we could add a little more. And like, for me, always, like, I'll be like, this is great. And then someone will have just one other really great idea that's just a really great addition, you know, that just expands it and deepens the meaning, and or even just makes it more accessible for a broader group of people, for instance. So it's like all of those things, I think, come from dialogue and working collaboratively, which I think is something, I think, that's a point of difference, that a lot of times people are working in these roles kind of or freelancing, and they're individuals as opposed to working as a group. So in everything we do, we always work at a minimum, development-wise, things with 2 or 3 of us. Not everyone always, but like different people will work on different projects.
And also, like, we do have a core group of people in collective, but we also often invite in other people to work with us. Yeah, and that's quite common. And whether that's because we need extra help, or because that person has a particular area of expertise or a different perspective that we value, or something that might be connected and relevant to what we're doing. And so making sure that it's not always us, but we're also including other artists and other people to bring their perspective and their knowledge and skill sets to the work.
So many of your projects involve the development of public programs and engagement projects with regional galleries and metropolitan galleries. Can you tell us about some of these projects and how you came to work within the sector?
I feel like the projects that we have began working on with FLENK has been an organic process. And so I think I feel like I have to give a tiny shout out to Talia Smith, who absolutely, who was the curator out at Granville, who really just gave us an opportunity. I think that was really key to just believing in us. Now, again, we had worked with Talia in the past, so I guess she felt strong that, like, our experience and the group could offer something, and saw that it could actually fit sort of a need in Granville with the new gallery opening. So that was a really great, I suppose, beginning. So that's a project that we've kind of our very first project we worked on, and it's one that we still have a relationship with even to this day. And then again, it goes beyond our relationship with Talia. Obviously now it's with the broader team out at Granville. And it's been a really beautiful one to watch grow, because we were really able to come in and they were like, this is brand new space, like how do we, even like strategically, like how do we think about which audiences we're going to try to connect with, and how can that really be meaningful and something that really works for them. And obviously you can't do it all, but like how do we pick and choose and decide like what are the main priorities, and then how do we grow and what will we work on next. And so we started off with a really beautiful teacher program that we did with the primary school there, which was just really lovely. And that was and Talia worked and spoke with them about, I think it was the very first exhibition they'd opened. And then we've continued with a lot of like in-gallery programs that they could run in a public, and we try to design everything, I suppose, as a public and an education program almost in one, because you have to think about the fact that people don't have the resources that a large institution has. So you're not going to have a team for this and a team for that. So when you just make some small changes, you can make something actually very accessible to as many people in the community as you can. So often we kind of write things that can be like a self-guided activity for a school. It might be something that you could also do in the classroom, but then you can also print it and it could be like a self-guided kit for any member of the general public or a family. And again, we try to then use that as a basis, and those bases sometimes then are like, well, then we add on if there's capacity to have a program, and usually it will have a jumping off point. So it all kind of has a holistic, is that a good description? Package of like how do we what we provided, but also then showing them again how you can make one thing and how then you can kind of build off of that as well. And so working with the gallery team there, we won't necessarily always deliver things. So we'll come and show them what we've created and then hopefully enabling them and really like building confidence for them to take that on and, offer it on a Saturday for families visiting or something like that. So that's been a really beautiful project. And then we most recently just worked with them on their Granville Nights activations, which was really beautiful to see some of the families that we've now known and really started to build relationships within the community, and they know who FLENK are, and they know that when we come and we do these lovely activities, right?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things, was actually seeing the same children and same families over and over again. And then we haven't just dropped in and left, but we're actually building relationships and connections and offering something once a month. I think 4 months was just a really great opportunity to connect and also just to see to witness children sort of developing their confidence, just working with us and making and expressing themselves. And one of the activities we did recently was to make zines, and it did involve telling a story. And I know that sometimes those activities outside of school, children feel like, it's a bit of a task, I know. But it was incredible to see these children really commit to writing and illustrating this story in a little book that they've made, and that they really enjoyed it. And just having a space for children as well to obviously be heard and to speak and to tell their story and express themselves. When, there aren't many spaces in this world for young people to be heard and to speak, and to let them know that we value that. We're interested. We want to hear what you have to say and to uplift that. And especially in Western Sydney and communities who, are having a really hard time with cost of living and global crises and everything. It's like to have a space for families and communities to come together and feel safe and feel welcome and engage in something that's creative is, I think, really, it just feels really good at the end of the day that we're able to facilitate that space and support people in the community.
Definitely. And to see that from that first program we did sort of with a few people who kind of dropped in, maybe not 100% knowing what this was, to seeing that there was like people who were coming regularly. So like seeing that journey has been, I think, probably one of the things that we're really proud of. And it's been a really nice thing to be a part of it again in that longevity way, where we really do like want to work with people and like feel like it's an exchange and a partnership. And I think they've gained things from seeing some of the ways that we work. And then I think like we don't run all of anyone's programming, but I think that it does inform, say, some of the other approaches to the things that they're doing. Like they were working with a lot of artists locally and they were, doing other really interesting programming. So I feel like that was really special.
Yeah.
Like another, what else would be one of the, I think one of the other nice things, I suppose, a little further afield was we were able to work with the Southern Highlands Gallery. Nunnagolla, and support them again when they were kind of in that beginning point, like they were looking to bring on staff. But they didn't have any yet, and they had a show, and it was really nice to be able to, again, step in that kind of support role we helped them. We did a teacher professional development, and we did it online. So again, worked with we were very adaptable, and that was still really successful. And then we were able to write like an education kit so that then their first program was still really robust and had an offer. And then I think left a really nice space, hopefully, for their new staff to come in and then obviously go from there.
And we also created 2 video resources, which one was an acknowledgement of country that has a creative,
like an active, we call it an active acknowledgement.
And so that's on our website as well as their website. And it's actually we've had some really good feedback about that, where teachers are using that in their classrooms. And it's a way of actually listening, connecting with country and respecting elders and country. And so that was a really beautiful opportunity to create a resource that has now grown and is used by many different people.
And I also think with that one of the points that was nice, there was a lot of artists in that show that wouldn't necessarily have an awful lot of documentation or resources already created behind them. There's obviously a lot of really established artists who there would be like a wealth of knowledge and resources and things that teachers can access. But it's really nice to also be bringing new voices or new maybe names to the table that teachers might actually then get their students to engage with, that are local, that are like maybe not as established. And so it was really rewarding, I felt, with that one, that we were able to elevate or like feel like we're really adding something that didn't already exist as well, which was really, really special.
And also engaging students, engaging visitors with artists' work who aren't as well known. And that was really important as well, that they do get to hear, voices who may not have the spotlight as often.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm trying to take some other highlights. I feel like our relationship with Casula has been really special as well. Again, something that we're now working on, like a second project with them. So again, it's that really nice thing where it's building from, building onwards. So that knowledge. So again, like a lot of education resources, I think are probably the things that we get asked for the most, or definitely there is a desire for that. I think because they can have the biggest impact, because they can be used and they have like a bit of an ongoing life, as opposed to, I guess, a program is a lot of commitment and it's just the once. So I think people would ask us to do more if they had all of the choice and the funding. But I think when they have to pick something that they're like, what will give us the most impact, a lot of times they want to connect with their local education audiences, and they don't necessarily always have the skills or the resources to make that happen. So I feel like education kits, as we call them education kits, we're trying to create our own lingo around things that again makes it, or even exhibition kits, because we're like, it could be used for anyone. So a lot of these, again, I saw Casula had left it out printed on the front desk and it was being used for the flight exhibition. And I think they had really, really good feedback around how much it was being used. They say they have a lot of grandparents and grandkids who come, and it's like, that might be really great for someone to try and give them a question to ask their, little person. So I feel like it's been used really, really, really broadly. And again, then from that, we've also done some like programs for school holidays or, different like one-off events, which have, again, been really lovely and been a nice addition to say what they're already doing, but maybe with a little bit of a different direction, I suppose. Like, so it's just not quite exactly what they're already doing within, I suppose, the team that they have.
And I think one of the things as well that I really appreciate about the work that we're doing in terms of best practice is that the engagements that, like the prompts for exhibitions and engaging with exhibitions is about actually connecting back to your story, connecting back to your personal experience. So they're prompts that families can use or schools can use, but it's actually an opportunity to connect with an artwork through your own lens, through your own story, and also through empathy. And so a lot of the time it is about asking questions that lead towards things that are amazing life skills, amazing experiences, but art is the center of that. And I think going to a gallery, experiencing work on your own without those prompts is valuable, but then it really deepens that experience and that opportunity for families and visitors and children who are engaging with the work to really engage and think about the work on a deep level. And I know myself, when I write a resource for an artwork, I've connected to the artwork. I've concept on my artist at a much deeper level because I've taken that time to really think about it and consider. Then a lot of the time, our resources start when take a moment to look at the artwork. Yeah. And so many people walk past an artwork for 30 seconds or 10 seconds. But when you actually stop and give someone that invitation to look at an artwork and really consider things, that's when the door opens, I think, to things that can be really quite transformative.
Yeah, and I think, again, that idea that it's like they're looking at a piece of art, but it's giving them that broader understanding of the world. A lot of the concepts and ideas that we're trying to get people to think about have such a broader, broader application beyond the art gallery context. And I think also, hopefully, it builds their relationship to being a part of the art world for a really long time, because people say if you have a really good first experience, then all of a sudden you see that the art world is there for you. It's like something that's actually for the audience. Whereas if you come in and you just feel like it is this kind of maybe something that you're not invited into, or that like you don't have the right tools to participate in, all of a sudden it's very closed off from you and you probably will never really engage in that space like ongoing. So if you have those really good first experiences, I actually think it really, hopefully we're growing our art audiences for a long time in the future.